Hi boys and girls, today we're going to be learning about length. So what I want you to do, I suggest that you write down this chart, customary units of length. Length is when you measure something with a ruler or a yardstick. There are 12 inches in a foot, so one ruler that's 12 inches is a foot long. There are 36 inches in a yard. And then in a mile, there are 1,760 yards. And in 1 mile, there are 5,280 feet. You probably don't need to know this one today. So another thing that I want you to do is I want you to write this down. To change to a smaller unit to a larger unit, you're going to divide. That means if you have 12 inches, if you're going from inches to feet, you're going to divide. Feet to yards, you're going to divide. Inches to yards, divide. Yards to miles, divide. Feet to mile, divide. When you're going from a larger unit to a smaller unit, you're going to multiply. So if I'm going to go from a foot to inches, you're going to multiply. Yard to feet, multiply, etc. Okay? So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing something called conversion. Okay, so conversion, I'll write it here. Conversion is when you change a unit from a smaller unit to a larger unit. Or you're also going to see the word convert. So we're going to convert feet to inches. We're going to convert inches to feet, feet to yards, etc. So here's an example. Right down here, how many yards are there in 24 feet? So I know that in 1 yard there's 3 feet. So I'm turning. So if I have a yard, I'm just going to draw it right now just to look at it. If I have a yard, so this is 1 yard. That is equal to 3 feet. So there are 3 feet in that yard. So 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot. So I'm looking at how many yards there would be in 24 of these. So if I'm looking to do that, I am going to divide. And the reason I'm going to divide is because I'm changing from a smaller unit, which is feet, to yards. So I'm looking at feet. I'm going from feet to yards. That's the question mark right here. So if you look at the chart, we know that a yard is larger than a foot because 1 whole yard equals 3 feet. So a yard is larger. So I'm changing from a smaller unit, which is feet, and going to a larger unit. So I'm going to be dividing. So I'm going to divide 24 divided by 3, and I'm going to get 8 yards. You think, okay, so does that make sense? 24 feet divided by 3 yards, divided by 3 feet, because that is how much 1 equals, then we get yards. Okay, so really important, I would, again, hopefully you wrote this down and were paying attention. I would put this in my notebook. To change from larger units to smaller units, multiply. To change from smaller units to larger units, divide. So if I'm going, let's go review this. If I'm going from feet to yards, I'm going from feet to yards. That is I'm going from a smaller unit to a larger unit. I am going to divide. If I'm going from inches to feet, if I'm going inches to feet, I'm going to divide. So that's like saying if I have 24 inches, how many feet? And the answer would be, I would divide, so I would divide 12 by 24 and I would get 2 feet. If I'm going from yards to inches, that means I'm going from yards to inches. That means I'm going to be multiplying because I'm figuring out, because this is yards is a larger unit going to a smaller unit. So I'm going to multiply. If you're going to go, oh, we already did inches of feet, so we're done with that one. Okay, so we're going to do a couple examples in the book. When you can, again here, this is super important. When you convert larger units to smaller units, you need to multiply. So if I'm converting 2 miles to feet, so here are my feet to miles. I'm going to multiply. I need to multiply the total of number of miles by the feet. So if I have 2 miles, I'm going to multiply by how many feet are in 1 mile. There are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. And then that would equal our total feet. So if you were to do that, 2, we get 10,560. So 2 miles is equal to 10,560 because I'm going from a larger unit to a smaller unit. Larger to smaller. Okay, and then you're just comparing, which is easy. 10,560 feet is greater than 10,000 feet. Okay, so here you can also convert inches into feet, and then you can use remainders to be inches. So for example, if I have 62 inches using the table, I'm going to take my inches into feet. So I'm taking a larger unit into a smaller unit. So if I'm changing from a smaller unit to a larger unit, I'm going to divide. So if I divide 62 by how many inches are in a foot, which is 12, I'm going to get a number. So we're going to see what you get. So I get 5 remainder 2. So that means I get 5 feet and I have a remainder of 2 inches. So 62 inches is equal to 5 feet and 2 inches.